All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo. We're back for the Round 2 Showdown show this week for the Memorial here on the Mayo Media Network, Ship It Nation collaboration. Got my guy Hoopster with me, as always. Going to be breaking it down for you, and I think this is actually a really interesting slate for a couple of different reasons we'll get to in a second. The weather, the AM, PM, the splits that we saw today, the talent that goes out tomorrow in different weather. So we'll get to all of that in a minute, but before we do, Hoop, going to bring you in, man. How you doing on this Thursday evening?
Yeah, doing well. Interesting first round, I'd say. Leaderboard looks a little wonky, not necessarily like what we expected. One thing that definitely stands out is the big time advantage for the morning guys, and we'll probably see it again tomorrow. So we might have one of those slates. And the win too. There's it's not a huge difference, but 5 in the morning, and then it gets up to 10 in the afternoon. But we already have seen that the morning is going to have an advantage. Another little add-on could make a pretty big difference. So, I think this is, since we restarted doing these shows here, probably the first time where we have somewhat of a significant significant tee time advantage.
Yeah, we're going to look at that in a second. It was definitely a big one today. I think today it was almost 2 strokes or just over, just under 2 strokes. Can look it up after. But another note, just to, always checking in the cut line for tomorrow, Hoop. Everyone worried again. I don't know what people are looking for. The Memorial in what we knew was going to be tougher conditions. Like we talked about, Xander, the joke all week was about the time that he went +8 in round 1 and then battled back to a top 20. Put himself in a tough spot again, but he battled back, got to 5 over. I should say got to, because he went to 7, I think was his worst, but got it back to 5, and he can grind it out tomorrow. But right now, looking somewhere around a 65% chance of +3 or worse. That's what we're seeing over on Data Golf. So you can check that out. Our guy Antonio in the chat, Scotty's putter with all the puke faces. Yeah, that's still happening. So we'll talk about that. But before we get into it, I want to remind everyone very quickly, hit that like button, hit the subscribe, and then do us a favor. We're transitioning over. Lots of conversation around it. We'll just get straight to it. But we're transitioning over from our original channel at Ship It Nation to at Ship It Nation YT. So if you go on youtube.com/@ShipItNationYT, we are going to be running a contest to get the subscribers rolling over there, to get the people back over. We had 600 or 700 added to the other channel. The other channel we're giving back. So just in general, to let you guys know right now, here's the contest. Break it down for you off the top. We'll put it on Twitter after. Go to youtube.com/@ShipItNationYT, subscribe to the channel, click into the welcome video, and leave a comment, #ShipIt. We are going to be giving away 1 annual membership to a lucky winner. So this is going to be a big contest. We're probably going to run it right till the U.S. Open. We're going to give away an annual membership to 1 person who subscribes to the YouTube channel. You must leave the comment, #ShipIt, on the welcome video on that page. Right now, it's just over 300 subscribers. So trying to get to 1,000 as quickly as possible, but we'll give away at least 1 annual membership. That's the contest to break it down early. Hoop, anything else to talk about there? If not, we can get into this slate, man.
Yeah, I know it's somewhat confusing today. We did the MLB show earlier on the Ship It Nation YouTube channel, the new one, and ran it on both, and there's some confusion. But, the main thing is get to the Ship It Nation YT page. Helps us out a lot, obviously, trying to build that back up and, continue to put out a lot of free, solid content on that channel. So make sure you get into the right spot. Ship It Nation YT is where you need to be.
Yeah, and just to note, like someone asked what happened, we had 600 or 700 over there. That's why we're running it simultaneously right now. We're just trying to get it all over, condensed into the one place. The other one will be scrubbed and gone back to its original owner. And then, of course, this channel will always be here on the Mail Media Network every week, Thursday and Friday, for round 2 and round 3, breaking it down for you guys, going through everything possible. And that'll be the collaboration always that we have set up. So, Hoop, let's dive in. Here's what I said was interesting off the top, why I actually love this slate for tomorrow. It's $25K up top, but it's a much more balanced structure, I think, than we usually see on the $20. The $555 is solid if you've got the bankroll for that. There's the $10 18 max. A lot of great tournaments on DraftKings. But here's the thing. First of all, you look at the weather. We talked about the splits. You pull it up, and right now it looks like the morning is great. Like the temperatures are still even. They're not as hot, but they're still good enough. They're not freezing cold. There's much less wind until about 11, 12 o'clock when it picks up from 2 to 5 miles an hour in the morning to 8 to 12-ish in the afternoon. And then the gusts are nothing crazy to worry about, but it's just a note. It's a little bit more windy. But the bigger factor, like we knew coming into this week and going through all of it, is that in the end, it's been, about being faster, firmer, baked out, windy in the afternoon with the baked out conditions. It's only going to get worse as the weekend goes on. So that's the first factor that makes it easy just to say, okay, let's stack it all AM. If you're a member at Ship It Nation right now, you can go over. We have our Showdown Core Report up. I've got the player pool broken out by tee times, guys that I may use in a situation I'll talk about in a second, and then also some bounce back candidates, which I'm going to go through some of it on here just to go through it with you guys. But of note, Hoop, when you go and look at this, break down the list, I'm just going to rattle it off. We're going to go tier by tier as always, but just to give an idea. Guys going out tomorrow afternoon, talent-wise, and how good they're doing so far. Scotty, Rahm, Hovland, Kawa, Sungjae, Fowler, Cam Young, Siwoo Kim, Denny McCarthy, Grillo, all these guys, bunch more. There's a lot of talented names going out in the afternoon. There's 5 to 7 up top that are like the main guys as far as Cantlay, Rory, Sander, Hatton, few guys that are going out in the morning, but that leads you to a lot of the same builds. So talk to me first about how you're attacking it, and then I just think that does make it so much more interesting when you've got some really talented guys in the afternoon. It's not like it's going to be the craziest of conditions, like you always talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. I think just right at the top, I mean, we'll obviously go tier by tier, but you have Scotty Scheffler and Jon Rahm, who just continued to soak up a ton of ownership on the main slate. Rahm played good today at 200. Scotty was not great at 2 over, but they're both going in the afternoon. So, like, what do people do with those guys? Victor Hovland, who is 1 under today, continues to play pretty solid. He's in the afternoon. Morikawa's in the afternoon. A lot of guys in the afternoon that are good golfers. So what do we do with them? How steep do we go with the morning lean on our guys? It's what makes it very interesting. It's a very dynamic slate, I'd say, very dynamic. The first one in a while where we have an advantage, but we also have a really loaded field where there's some really good guys in the afternoon. So, I mean, we'll give our takes when we go tier by tier and break it all down. But it's I think it's definitely a fun slate, a very fun slate.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. So I actually had, I think it was in March when I hit this. We had another weather. You and I have had this happen before at the PGA Championship. We just talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Was close to it again there, but this is one strategy that I've just been using and it's working quite well. Here, it makes even more sense. Is that run like a 5-1 or a 4-2 or whatever you want to call it, where you can get a bunch of guys in the morning and other people are going to be all in, and I get that. I'm going to have some of those too. My point is, when you run that one person in the afternoon, it happens all the time. The time we talk about with you all the time where you got robbed by Matthew Neesmith. One guy went off. The rest of the afternoon did not. You can find these players, but the difference is here we have all the talent. There is a bunch of guys. So if you want to run Sungjae in the afternoon, you want to run Rahm or Scheffler, you have to use an afternoon guy. I think it's more than fine to do that. My guy Jay Steele, he's in here. He always worried. This guy, why does Xander hate me? He's my boy. But like I said, man, this guy's literally on the cut line. It's +3 or +4, almost a 65% chance. He's at 5 over. He's done it before. He can do it again. I'm playing him in Showdown tomorrow for sure. He's one of the guys in the bounce back section that goes out in the morning. He's 10-1, which is expensive when you think about Cantlay, who's going to be probably one of the highest owned on the slate since he's the most expensive, solid golfer that also goes out in the morning. And then you got Scotty and Rahm that people are just going to play no matter what. Rory, people will forgive that triple, the crazy triple that he made at the end. Not as bad as Chad Ramey, though. Chad Ramey, 106 yards in off the tee on the last hole and somehow shoots a 13. So that is just some incredible stuff. That's what this course can do to you. That's the other thing, though, Hoop, and we're about to get to the tiers in a second, but 10 minutes in, that's the other thing, is that you have to do a deeper dive. Somebody said you just do the normal stat check and you go look at the strokes gained approach and who needs to find a putter. You could have 90 guys tomorrow. Like, everyone had these ups and downs, but you really have to dig in because there's a lot of cases where guys look horrible on approach and it was one hole. Or I'll use another example. Let me go to my guy Hideki for a second. I want to pull him up. Hideki's a great example. So Hideki is even par. He actually gained 2 strokes on approach, over 2 strokes, but there was one hole, hole 12. He lost almost a stroke and a half. So this makes me like a guy like Hideki. He goes out in the morning. We're jumping ahead, but just to say this, He left 3 par 5s out there. Mind you, he did eagle one, but 3 par 5s. He actually went par, bogey on the par 5s, still gained huge on approach across the board, had a horrible hole, and still ended up that much while not being able to find a putter. That to me is a guy I'm looking at as a great play. So I think something like that is you do have to do a bit deeper dive when you're looking into this stuff today, more than usual because of all the water and the hazards and whatnot that we have out there. So let's talk about this slate hoop. Let's dive in. We'll go to the top up here. We've got Scotty Scheffler. Let's go down to Sung Jae at 9K. Talk us through the upper 10K first, though, and then drop down into those 9s.
Yeah, I mean, the tough decision on the slate is, what to do with Scotty Scheffler and John Rahm, who, Rahm played well today at 2 under, but Scotty did not at 2 over. They both go off in the afternoon. The one thing that immediately comes to mind for me is we've seen a lot of people more in tune with the tee time advantages lately. So I think these guys do come in lower owned than we would typically see. So that means I want to be on them in some way, shape, or form. Like, am I going to go way over the field on them? No, but I think I do want exposure to both. When we get into the 6K range, I think there's going to be a lot of guys that we can play. So I want these guys in my player pool. And honestly, that's going to kind of force me into a similar strategy to what I had on the main slate, where it's like I want a couple guys up top, and then I'll take on some 6 and 7K risks. So I will have some of these guys. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to go overboard. Cantlay, I imagine, ends up being very popular. 1 under here. He is teeing off early in the morning tomorrow, so has that good tee time. And then you have Xander at 10-1. 5 over. He had a triple. You could say that about a lot of triples and doubles, but if he somehow makes par there, he's 2 over in the tougher condition, wouldn't look all that bad. So I want, again, all these guys in this upper range. Cantlay's the one that gets the most ownership. Xander, I think, is a great pivot off of him because the difference in ownership between those two is going to be massive. And then I'm imagining like Scheffler and Rahm end up being pretty similar. So I want a lot of these guys up top. I will throw Rory in the mix just because of what you talked about a little bit in the opening, and he gets the early tee time, and they dropped his price finally. He's under 10K at 9.9. And then I'll be fading a lot of guys. I'll fade Hovland. I will fade Morikawa. I'll go to Hatton, who I was on the main slate. He shot 1 under on the tougher side today. He goes off at 8 Eastern. Continue to fade Jason Day. Talked about it on the main slate. Wasn't going to be on him. He's 4 over, and now he plays in the tougher draw. I'll pass on him. JT, I like the price tag at 9.1. Didn't really play him on the main slate, but in this weather, not even a weather draw. I guess it's more of like a tee time draw. I'll play him at 9. Your boy Sung Jae, congratulations. Back on track for you.
Don't jinx it now, Hoop. This is
early. Yeah, you gotta feel good about that.
2 rounds. Baby.
You gotta feel good about that. But I'll be fading him. He has the worst of the tee times, and he goes off like really late. That has to be like one of the last tee times of the entire group. So love the guys up top. Love Hatton, JT. I'll play. I'm going to play a lot of these guys because of the way I'm going to build my teams. I mean, I'm going to feel comfortable playing guys in the 6K range. I want exposure to these big dogs up top.
Yeah, I like a lot of these guys too, actually. And that's another thing about the strategy. Funny enough, when I did it before looking at the waves and just going through it, I was looking and I liked a lot of the guys up top, a lot of the guys at the very bottom, not very many in the middle. So there will be some that get in there. I'll go through it in a second, but just Justin Wilson brought it up here. We already talked about this.
I'm glad you brought that up, man. I was literally just going to click on that. It's a very important point. So yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, when I saw that message, I was like, yeah, 10 miles an hour is not massive wind. I agree with that. This course, like you said, bakes out in the afternoon, and that is the reason it was much more difficult today. So when you combine that with early in the morning, the course is going to be easier, 5 mile an hour winds, tougher course in the afternoon, 10 mile an hour winds. It's not necessarily the wind that's making the difference. That's just another little
temps are going up. It causes the course to get baked out a little bit more, and then it becomes a little bit tougher, a little bit more of a grind down the stretch. On top of what I always talk about, anytime we can get an AM advantage, it's always the best to me, especially on cut day, because of the setup that it's the mentality of having to make a cut at a tough field with a bunch of money on the line too, by the way, just to get through this cut and get to the next stage. So, I mean, a lot you can make up over the weekend here. We saw it a couple weeks ago at the PGA Championship. Guys like Kurt Kitayama, Cam Davis that grinded it out over the weekend, especially on Sunday, to find their way up to a much bigger paycheck on Sunday. But you can't get the paycheck if you don't get there first. So definitely something that I want to bring up. Also, if you're a member at Ship It Nation, I want to bring this up. I have my guy behind the scenes working on the new avatars, the new logos, and we got the hat logo now. So we're going to see some people rocking that one straight up, the hashtag Ship It on there. But if you're a member, jump in the Discord, go to site avatars. You can get, there's 2 brand new logos that you can get for the sites that you're playing on. For me, up top, I had it broken out here. I'm with you. The same guys, you know, the Scotty, Rahm, Cantlay, McIlroy. Like I said, I'm going to be bringing the guys like Scotty, Rahm, Morikawa, Sungjae, just to name 4. I think that's the only 4 that I might be on there. But those 4, I'm definitely bringing in to my 5-1s or 4-2s hoop. Like I said, I really like the idea. I think something really interesting tomorrow would be to play 2 of those guys up top, skip the Cantlay, Rory, Xander bounce back, which I'll get to Xander in a second, but do that. And then, like I said, use all my value plays. When I get down to the bottom here from 7K down to 6,300, I think I've got 7 or 8 guys that I like. And there's a bounce back candidate in there as well at 7,200. I think you might like. So we'll get to that in a second. I do want to talk really quickly though on Xander. Someone talked on JT. I don't need to spend much time on him. If you want to, it's JT. If you think he bounces back, roll it out. That one's fine. He's definitely a bounce back candidate because of his talent level. But Xander is the one I wanted to bring up because if you go look, 1, 2, 3 of the par 5s he left out there, but he really picked it back up on the back 9 if it wasn't for. So here's the deal. He lost 2 strokes on approach. And I was, oh, that's so bad. Well, he lost almost 4 strokes on hole 12 where he made a 7 on approach. So that's what I'm saying. The rest of them, you go look and count them up. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 14 holes that he gained on approach. The guy was fine. It's literally all one hole. And that's what I'm talking about, where you have to feel a little bit better about this guy being able to bounce back. So I definitely think he's interesting there. Nothing else really for me up top in that 9K. Like I said, Kawa, Sungjae. Sungjae's in the afternoon. And then one other guy dug into after. I added him late, Hatton. So Hatton, the only reason I added him because I wanted to add another guy going out in the morning that might give you a little bit different, or for those that want to set it up with sort of all AM guys. He took advantage of the par 5. So kind of opposite how I usually say things, Hoop. So the good news is he took care of business where you should take care of business, made 3 birdies on 3 of the 4 par 5s, par on the other. Across the board, the approach was okay. He lost about a stroke overall, but it was more even keeled, and he still had the putter going a little bit. He's been good. The last 3 round 2s that he's played are all really solid with a 65 and a 67 in there. So I definitely think Hatton is interesting as well. Let's move on. Let's go to this 8K range. Fitzpatrick down to Siwoo Kim. You could go further if you wanted. I just don't know how many of those guys you like. I'm not very heavy on this range, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's going to be a range that I am also not very heavy on. At the top, you have Fitzpatrick, 4 over today. He does have the early tee time, but didn't play him on the main slate. Didn't like what I saw coming in. It just doesn't seem like a guy that's going to bounce back to me. So out on him at 8-9. Out on Ricky Hideki. I kind of talked about him. He's even 7:41 Eastern tee time. I still don't think I'm going to get to him. Jordan Spieth, man, three under in the tougher draw. Now gets the 8 o'clock Eastern tee time. I don't know what to do with this guy. Didn't play him a couple weeks ago. Played him last week when he sucked. I don't know. Maybe I'll play him in Showdown. Yeah, you know what? I will play a little bit of him just so he doesn't annoy me if he goes off. No thanks to Sahith. Cameron Young continues to play like not great golf, and he's in the tougher draw. Man, my guy Corey Connors, what happened down the stretch? Just a complete meltdown for him. And, he was going along decent at least. And then I think it was like a bogey double and then another bogey to finish. He does have an early tee time. It's kind of a grinder too. Like I could see him battling for us. So yeah, I'll have
him in the bounce backs because really, again, it's another guy where it's like 2 holes are all of that loss. The rest is pretty solid. He made a couple birdies and an eagle. He left some par 5s out there. He can find it tomorrow. I think no problem.
Yeah, so I'm cool going back to him. Out on Burns, out on Scott, and out on Siwoo just because of the tee times. I mean, all 3 of them played well today on the easier side. 1 under for Burns, 2 under for Scotty, and then Adam Scott, and then 1 under for Siwoo Kim. I'm just going to play other guys, and I want exposure to those guys up top. So in this range, it's only a couple for me. It's Corey Connors and Jordan Spieth, I guess, just because I don't want him to continue to play well, and I have none of them on the main. So only really 2 plays for me here in this range.
Yeah, I like Hideki. I like Spieth. Spieth is, what you're getting. He's boom bust. But again, it just seems one thing about Spieth reminds me of Grillo from last week, where I think it was the round 3 show you and I did. I was down at the cottage and we talked about Grillo. I said, when he just keeps going, it just continues to happen. This was after 2 rounds. I said I wouldn't be surprised for him to keep going over the weekend, because usually when he plays well, he's in the mix. When Jordan starts strong, he usually finds a way to do it. And look, how the guy even got to the top, or near it today, I should say, is insane. But that's Jordan Spieth. That's just what he does. At this point, it's not a surprise. It's not something crazy, whatever. It's just what he does. So one thing I want to go back and try and sell you on, this is probably one of my favorite bounce back plays actually, is Matt Fitzpatrick. Going back up 8,900 here. The price is pretty fair. I think it was 8,900. 8,900, yeah. But going back, okay, 6 birdies today, Hoop. Very solid. 6 birdies while losing a stroke putting and losing almost 3 strokes on approach. But again, another guy, 2 holes, 2 bad holes. That's it. The other 16, solid. And if you're putting up 6 birdies on a course like this, and he has the AMT time at 8,900, I think that's a guy that, again, I don't know if people will go there, but it's just one time for me that I can go back. And again, it takes that deep dive. Most people just pull up the stats quick and go, wow, Fitzpatrick sucked today, lost 3 strokes on approach. They're not even looking at 4 over. He sucks. He made 6 birdies. That's all I care. His scorecard is perfect for Showdown. Minus an eagle or a streak is all he's missing, but that's pretty much fine for Showdown. That would be a good setup. So I'm okay with him tomorrow going back to him. I think that's a good spot we can go back to. Let's move on to this 7K range here. Let's do just the full 7K range. We can talk through it. Who are some of the guys you like in here?
Yeah, it's a bigger range. I'll kind of rattle off some of the guys that I do actually have interest in. I will be going back to my guy Keegan. Had him as a core play this week. 2 over, tougher conditions. Really not all that bad, to be honest with you. So he's right there. I think he can score tomorrow. So in on him at 7.8K, very similar price tag to where he was on the main slate. One thing I do want to point out, just looking at this, what happened to our boy Tom Kim, man? It's a tough scene for him. 7 over today.
Yeah, there was we talked about it in the Discord a little bit. He was still rocking that tape on his wrist, so there was some concern. I know everyone was worried about Hatton for that as well, and then Hatton comes through. It's kind of like the opposite effect, but I'm not sure what's going on with Tom Kim. I thought he was showing signs at the PGA Championship. Did not turn out that way, and then now, again, another bad setup. And again, a guy like him, just completely horrible across the board, did nothing all day. You could say the argument, he left all the par 5s out there except for 1, but he also tacked on bogeys at almost every hole on the back 9 pretty much. So, it's not really looking too good for him right now. Yeah,
tough for him. Harris English played well today, 1 under. We talked about him a little bit yesterday, but not going to play him. He's got afternoon tee time. Just wanted to point out that he played well. Chris Kirk, I will go back to. Again, very similar to Keegan Bradley in the fact that, I played him on the main slate. He was 2 over. You look at the score 2 over and you're thinking, it's pretty shitty. Well, in the tougher draw, and 2 over right now is currently within the cut line. So 2 over in the afternoon today, not all that bad. So I really like Kirky tomorrow at 7.6. One of my favorite plays is definitely going to be Bezadenhout at 7.5K, 1 over, and he gets a really early tee time. It must be one of the first tee times of the day tomorrow, 7 I think it is, 7 Eastern. So he goes off first tomorrow in what should be the best conditions of the day. Really like him. Your guy KH Lee, we talked about him a little bit yesterday, was not great, 3 over. But if you're playing that the tee time draw, he's on the good side, and the price is pretty fair at 7.5, so don't hate him. And Gary Woodland's kind of the same boat, 3 over, early tee time. I could play a little bit of him. And guys like KH Lee and Gary Woodland, I'm not going to go crazy on. They're not going to be massively high-owned guys for me, but I think they're firmly in play if you're playing this tee time draw, which you definitely should. Man, my guy Ryan Fox was hurtful today. For me personally, it's going to be one of those situations where I probably don't have a lot of him tomorrow just because I have so much on the main slate. So if he does well, it's going to revive some of my main slate teams. So, for me personally, I'll be off him, but he does go off very early. He's 7:05 Eastern tee time. That's has to be one of the first ones. Steven Yeager at 7-3, even par, tougher side today, 7:30 Eastern, in on him. Eric Cole in. Sepp Straka, 1 under on the tougher side today, 8 o'clock tee time. I'll go back to him. My guy Svensson, hurtful today, 7-2. He does have early tee time today, but 5 over. Man, I don't know. I have a lot of them on the main, so not sure what I'll do there. And then Davis Riley is the interesting one. Sitting atop the leaderboard at 5 under, played on the tougher draw today. His ownership, I imagine, is going to be very, very high. Probably have to fade him despite the good tee time, to be honest with you. Tom Hoagie's a guy you can play to. A lot of guys 2 over. He's 2 over on the tougher side. I think he can go right back there. And then Adam Schenk, 3 over, early tee time there at 8:30. I think you can play him as well. In this range, I'll be focusing more on the guys that tee off early in the morning. Favorite play in this range, though, by far, I think, is Bezadenhout.
Okay. I got some AM guys you mentioned. So Bradley, Kirk, Sepp Straka looks pretty good. Tom Hoagie. Yeah. Then for afternoon guys, I'll go Denny and Benny. So Benny Ann and Denny McCarthy. That's the 2 I like there. And then there's the trio of Adams at the bottom. Adam Hadwin is an afternoon guy that I think you could fit in there. And then there's 2 other Adams that go off in the morning. One is Adam Schenk, and one is your guy Svensson. And he was the one I wanted to talk about. You hit up the rest of the range pretty good, so we can get through it. But I do want to pull up the Svensson deep dive. So Svensson lost 3 strokes with the putter, barely gained anything on approach.
Such a bad putter.
Yeah, well, he's been fine. That's why I'm not worried about this.
It was like last year, right? When he put it to 5 feet like every single time, and he literally missed every single 5-footer.
Yeah, he did that for a little bit, but then there was like a week or like a stretch story of I think it was 7 or 8 weeks. I'd have to look it up and see where he actually gained strokes with the putter. So it was kind of a false narrative at one point. I have to go back and look it up. But just today, talking for tomorrow, he put up 3 birdies. It was really one horrible hole on 6 where he lost almost 2 strokes on approach, and he still gained slightly on approach, lost with the putter overall, but left 3 of the par 5s out there, did nothing with them. And again, still 3 birdies on the card. So not my favorite play, but just I do like looking into something like that just to see if we can find a bounce back. And if I have it here, I might have it up right in front of me. I can find it, but putting wise, gained huge at the PGA Championship, gained huge at the Wells Fargo, lost a little at the Heritage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of his 6 before that he crushed. And last year, again, it was a false narrative. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 10 weeks where he gained at least a stroke or so with the putter, some weeks even more, and there was some good results out of it. So he's a little bit tilting at times, but I think the narrative is a little bit of something that you see people fall into, and he can find a putter. So I'm not too worried about that. He lost almost 3 today. So I think he can definitely get better than that tomorrow, make up for some of those par 5s, get back some of that approach, usually very good, dialed with the irons. So see how he does, but he was just an interesting bounce back option right there. I don't have much else in this range you could make cases for. I guess Grillo was another guy. One more, and then we'll move on and do our 6K range. Grillo was, he just absolutely crushed on approach. This is another spot off the win, lost 3 strokes almost with the putter, gained 4 on approach. It wasn't just one hole. On the back 9, he was absolutely dialed with his irons and somehow only made 1 birdie out of the bunch. So left a couple par 5s out there. I think Grillo is another interesting afternoon guy. Again, if you're setting up these 5-1s or 4-2s, I think these are the way to do it. Anybody else for you in there, Hoop? If not, let's go to the 6K range. Oh, I think I lost my guy Hoop, so I'll take it over. He'd probably come back and join us. He might just have to reset or restart. Let me know if the chat, if you still got me. I think you guys do, but I'm just trying to go through the 6K range here. Interestingly enough, I did this first. I sorted my guys. I looked for who I wanted to play, get in my stats, do all that stuff, and then I pulled the 6K range, and there was a lot of guys that just happened to be AM guys anyway. So when I went down to it and looked, Putnam, Alex Noren looks really good tomorrow. Sam Stevens, David Lipsky, Lee Hodges, Ches Reavie, just to name a few. I mean, that was the guys. I had Eckroat in there. I think Eckroat's been playing some much better golf. We've seen a lot out of him lately. So just to say that, I think that's good. I'm just going to fix my stuff up here, guys. I apologize. Go back. And then Patrick Rogers was another guy. And then the one that I was going to deep dive was JJ Spawn. So just to look this one up, I had him on the list. Looked pretty solid across the board. My guy's back. Get him in here. Oh, we're pressing buttons at the same time. Got to get him back in.
First blip on the radar there for us on the live show. Internet
must be when you're running 3 YouTube channels. That must be the case. After tomorrow, we'll get it right. We just wanted to make sure everyone knows. We'll talk about the contest again at the end. But our guy Johnny 2Bet says, let's build up the right channel.
Yeah.
Good luck, fellas. Hashtag ship it. We know it. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate the support, man. Going back to it, though, I was talking about just one bounce back candidate. I'll let you do the 6K range after me, Hoop. I mentioned a bunch of AM guys there, but JJ Spawn was the one afternoon bounce back guy. He's right at 6,900, had 3 birdies on the card. Approach numbers pretty solid on both sides of the course. Left 3 par 5s out there. So I think that he's a guy that would be interesting in the afternoon that we could see bounce back in this spot. Plays a little bit better in most cases. So I think we'll see him bounce back tomorrow as well. Sort of round out my list. Who do you like in the 6K range?
Yeah, so I mean, the way I'm building teams, I have to play a decent chunk of these guys, and there's quite a few that I feel good with at the top. Thomas Dietrich, 6.9K, 1 over. He goes off pretty early tomorrow. I think he's certainly a play for me. Coming down a little bit, Matthew Neesmith, been playing a lot of him. He's 1 over, and he has a really early tee time tomorrow. Really like him at 6-7. I think he can put up some birdies for us. Sam Stevens, even par, goes off right out of the gate, 7 Eastern, earliest possible tee time. Andrew Putnam, 1 under, going off at 8:40. I think he is clearly a play tomorrow morning. Ben Griffin, I see your guy Alex Noren sitting here at 6-6, even par. I have a feeling that you're going to like his ass because you always do. David Lipsky, 3 under, probably going to be popular tomorrow. He's 3 under. He's 6.5K, sitting in 3rd place, 7:12 Eastern tee time. I think a lot of people end up going to him. Lee Hodges, 6.5K, even par, right out of the gate. He's at 7 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Sam Ryder, 6.4K. And that could be it. Yeah, I think that that wraps it up. So, I mean, my favorite down here is going to be my guy Neesmith. Has been playing very well, was decent in the afternoon, and he gets to go off pretty early tomorrow.
Yeah, Neesmith is one that I didn't think of yet. I might add him still. He's the last one that I was thinking about adding. What's his price tomorrow?
6.5, was it?
67.
67, yeah, 67, yeah.
Putnam's right there, too. I think it's going to be between those two, but I think just to clear it up, I know that some people are going to want to just play morning guys only, and that's okay if you want to do that. I prefer the 5-1s, the 4-2s and whatnot, but at least over on Ship It Nation, we have about 20, 21, 22 guys, so that can be your player pool if you want to use all those AMs. We talked through sort of the main PM guys that we like. I think you could easily find 35 or less in your pool. Set your rules up that way if you have something you can use for that. We've got our partnership with the Solver. If you guys want to use an optimizer, we are going to be having PGA projections added soon as well. They're included in the membership. But real quick, Hoop, I'm going to go back and recap the contest. Just going through it. Jay Steele, it's Sung Jae, man. We talked about it already. Love Sung Jae Im, so he's the guy for me. But the best comment that came up. So here's the contest again, guys, for you. Just make it easy. The other channel will be shutting down as of tomorrow. You won't see it anymore. It's gone. The channel may exist, but nothing of our stuff will be on there. The deal with Mayo Media Network is always in place. You'll always find us here on Thursday and Friday evenings. We appreciate Mayo for having us, letting us use this channel and go through it. It's a good support system. Love working with him. Appreciate everything he does. On our channel for Ship It Nation, it's very easy. It's youtube.com/@ShipItNationYT. You go there, under the videos section is the welcome video, my mug. You click on it. You just have to comment #ShipIt. Or if you want to be a guy that, maybe it's a random draw, but I'll give some one up here and give some love to my guy, Andrew Martinez. He says, babies ain't cheap, #ShipIt. I like that. He wants the membership. He doesn't want to pay for it. So it's simple. By the US Open, so 2 weeks from now, we will give away an annual membership. The price up till US Open week is $5.99, and then it's $69 or $6.99 for monthly or annual. That's where it will cut off. We've been pretty transparent about that from the very beginning. We have a lot of new members, a lot of people coming in. The Discord is incredible. It's already filling up. There's lots of people talking the PGA stuff in there for the showdown. We get the stuff up early so you guys can have that. But I do want to stress, this is something, I heard today and just talking about with people to let it be known. Like, our focus is the tools and the projections. If you guys follow our Twitter at Ship It Nation, you can go back and look the last few nights with the MLB streets. We have the pitcher rankings, the stack rankings. All these sites out there have great tools and have great projections. Here's the issue. They're very expensive. I know, because I've subscribed to all of them, and you use some of that information to try and know what's going on around the industry. It's expensive, though, but it's great info. I think they all have great info, but it's expensive. Secondly, a lot of people are using the same stuff. So the idea with us is you have Hoop, you have myself, you have Nades, you have Boomer, you've got other guys on the site that can help support and put up core reports and all that stuff. But our main focus is on helping you set up your own process to be able to ship it on your own, be able to go out and find what you need. We're there for support. We're there to help. We're guiding. We put the stuff up so you have it, but it's not just about did Hoop's plays hit tomorrow as much as it is about getting all the tools and the projections and the access to be able to learn to start building your own stuff so you can compete and contend against these players that are top level using these other more expensive sites. You can get it for a more affordable price, and you have stuff that's unique and is good. So like last night when the baseball stuff hits again, our number one pitcher was the $5,700 guy that was 8% owned on the slate, and he broke the slate. He was the number one raw points pitcher on the slate. We had somebody turn $485 into $9,800. That's not what we're guaranteeing. Any site telling you that is crazy. That's what we're trying to get away from. Hoop and I have been in this business for a very long time. We're trying to make it understood in this promo, at least, to make sure people know is that it's not what it's all about. We want to make you become a better player, get it to you for an affordable price. We know people's bankrolls are all different, but we know the majority of people are playing with less money, don't do this full time, want to enjoy their family time, their kids' time, significant others, friends, all that stuff. We're trying to make it easy for you that way. So $59 a month is the minimum you can get in for. If you pay monthly, $5.99 for the year works out to just under $50. So it's kind of like our original promo was anyway. And we still have the founding family benefits. They go until June 12th when that locks, where we'll be giving away over $6,000 over the next year and a whole lot more. Probably I could say almost 10K, because I know we're going to have giveaways during football season, all of the stuff that you're expecting. But Hoop, I'll kick it to you, man. Long promo, but I want people to know, man, this is Jay Steele says it. I paid $500. He got the original $499 deal and already made it back. We gave away $500 to Justin Wahlberg, who won. He was one of the annual members that won the money back. So take it for what it's worth. Everyone will say something different. We're just trying to tell you the benefit of our site and what you can find there. And I think by the time you see NFL, NBA, NHL, and maybe another sport, hint, hint, that we would add, that's included as well when we add something. When you have that set up, you will be saying 59 is the steal, because it's not just for mine and Hoop's plays. This is the tools and projections you can use that use game theory, correlation, leverage, the key words, of course, from a marketing point. But it's the point of, we used the tools last night to see how the slate was playing out, what pitchers people were on. Let's fade them, go to this, use those hitters against that, and therefore that's what ended up shifting the slate. So I'll let you add on, Hoop, but I wanted to make sure people know while we're here.
Yeah, I mean, you missed one thing there. I mean, you said the 59 is a steal. Okay. Now this is, again, you're just rubbing off on me so much. The first thing that immediately popped in my head, and you'd be proud, the $59 deal is a steal, right? So
you got to have a little more fluent. You got to do it a little more fluent than that.
I know. That's why I'm not you. I'm getting better with it. All right. Okay. But you hit on the important parts, though. We wanted to create something that brings everything together. We don't want people to come to our site and be dependent on your core, my core, Nade's core, who's ever core. We want that to be one part of your process. We're going to offer that for all the slates. We're going to offer core plays. We're going to offer the core report. We're going to offer cash plays that we put money behind. We're offering that for every slate. That's just one aspect of what we offer and one aspect of what we want your process to be. We want you to look at the hitter rankings. We want you to look at the pitcher rankings. These pitcher rankings for 2 straight nights absolutely smash. And this is the pitchers that you need to win money at the end of the night in these GPPs. I would have never thought to play the guy who was Tommy Henry last night, right? Like, would have never thought to play him. he crushed. He dominated. Other places were recommending the offense going against him. Our pitcher ranking, that's the top guy. Hitter rankings, projections, and all the advanced data to go along with it too. If you don't want to see the simplified version, there's a little link at the bottom that gives you all the statistical data. I'll be honest, it's stuff that I don't necessarily use, but there's a lot of people out there that do like digging into that. So we have every aspect of what it takes to potentially win at daily fantasy sports across different sports as well. Like you said, we will be adding on here along the way. We're going to bring on new sports. We're going to bring on new pieces of content. The price doesn't change. Once you're in, you get locked into the price. Right now, you can still become a founding family member if you join us, the $59 or the $599. It's the best all-in deal that you're going to find in the industry. Optimizer, we've partnered with the Solver. If you get it through our website, our projections automatically loaded in there, waiting for you to build lineups. Their optimizer is phenomenal, and they're going to only improve it as time goes on. So, yeah, a little bit of a long spiel here from Tambo and myself, but just want everyone to know truly what we're all about over here at Ship It Nation.
We're a new company. I got no problem doing it. You guys know what it is. We're here to help people. We both help people for many years in the space. The key is this: we're not always going to win. That's DFS. I know that for a fact. You know that for a fact. The screenshots know that for a fact. You can look it all up. We know. What I'm saying, though, is if you guys are winning, that's awesome for us still. We want to see people win. We want to see people have success. That's why we say everything you need to have success with DFS. More players, it builds it, the word of mouth, and then more people maybe start playing DFS, and we can continue to have these contests, more milli makers, more stuff like that. So very excited for what we've got going on over at shipitnation.com. Check it out. You can still get in there now for $59 or $5.99. Hit me up on Twitter at ToeTagginTambo if you guys have any questions, concerns, thoughts, feedback, anything like that. Appreciate you guys all. Thanks for watching. For Hoop, for myself, ToeTagginTambo, let's ship it.